Hello guys and welcome back to I Read a Little. So this is going to be my March TBR. We're in a different location because I filmed my March TBR and then I went on the computer and it's completely out of focus. So hopefully I'm in focus now and the lighting isn't too bad because I've had to come downstairs. So we're going to talk about what I plan on reading in March. I have quite a large number of books. So I don't know how many I'm going to get to in March. Fingers crossed I read a good amount of them, but I have gone back to uni, so I don't have as much time to read as I would like. So at the moment I am reading Secret Passages in a Hillside Town by Pazzi Ilmari Jaskalainen. Don't know if I said that right. And I'm 60 pages into this. I started reading it in February, so this will be on my March TBR because I have to finish it. So that's the first one, unfortunately. I would have liked to finish it in February, but I'm finding it quite hard to get through, so it's going to take me a bit longer. The next book that I have on my TBR is How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. I read a non-fiction book by Matt Haig about depression. I can't remember the name of it. And I really enjoyed it, and it said on the book that he had written fiction books, and my mum also read his book and really enjoyed it, so she then went on to buy a couple of his fiction books, which is why we have this one. I have no idea what this is about at all. I'm just going to read it and then find out, so you'll have to look at my March read wrap up to find out what it's about if you're interested. The second book I want to read is The Humans by Matt Haig. I actually know what this is about. So basically there's a professor in this book who I think is about to create something groundbreaking. I think he's like a mathematician or like a scientist, and he's about to create something amazing, and he basically I think gets possessed by an alien because it can't happen, and it's about this alien possessing this human body and like what he learns about the world. I think it's quite funny, so I'm really looking forward to reading that one. Oh my god. As I came downstairs, I had my books in a pile and I dropped them on the coffee table, which you are balancing on, and they landed in my tea. So there is tea all over my books. So the next book that I'm reading in February, I'm not really looking forward to reading. I don't really know why I bought this. It was, I think, because it had been like not hyped up, but it's been well received, and it was shortlisted for awards and things, and I'd heard a lot about it, so I wanted to read it. But now I'm not so sure that it's going to be that good, and that is We Are Completely Beside Ourselves by Karen Joy Fowler. I don't really know, again, I don't really know anything about this book, just that it was cheap, so I picked it up, and now I'm kind of like, I'm not interested in reading it, but I'm making it a mission to get through all of the books that I own, so it's just on my list to read to get it out of the way. I think it's about a girl's childhood, and it said, what if you grew up to realise that your father had used your child as an experiment? So it's obviously revolving around that, but that's really all I know about it, so we will find out when we read it what it's about. The next book on my TBR is Tell the Wolves I'm Home by Carol Rifka Brunt, and this basically follows the story of a young girl called June, and I think she's quite close to her uncle, and he has AIDS and dies, and it's about how she meets up with a man who tells her a lot about her uncle that she didn't previously know, and how she learns more about him after his death. So I'm really looking forward to reading that one. The next one I bought yesterday, I don't know if it's going to be in March or April's TBR, is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This has been really well received. I read a chapter of it, I got a free sample on Kindle and couldn't really get into it, but everyone's going on about it, so I really like want to persevere, and I feel like it's the sort of book that will get better the further in you go. So I am going to try and read that one, and hopefully I'll be proved right that it is something you have to persevere with to enjoy. The next book that I want to read I got in February. So my local bookshop was doing a blind date with a book, so you went in and there was a shelf of books and they were covered in like brown paper, and it had like criteria of what they were about. So it said like cult, thriller, family or sisters, or you know, stuff like that. It had 3 things I think, and you just picked whatever you wanted and it was a surprise as to what you got. I'll put a picture here of what the like covers look like. I think it's quite a popular thing in America, but it doesn't happen much in the UK. So as soon as I found out the local bookstore was doing it, I was like, I have to try that because I really like surprises. So, and actually the book that I got has been on my TBR for a really long time, so I'm really looking forward to reading it, and that is Homegoing by Jar Jizai. And this is basically about 2 sisters in olden time, like quite long time ago when slavery was still around. One of them is a slave and the other is a slave trader's wife, and it follows their 2 stories, and it also spans generations and follows their families through the different generations. So I'm looking forward to reading that one, at least I think it does. I don't know much about it apart from the fact that it's apparently really good, so want to read that for sure. For sure. And the next book I want to read is, really looking forward to this one. This is the one that I mostly want to read in March, and that is The Secret Diary of Henrik Groen, 83 1/4 years old, and it's written by Henrik Groen himself, and it basically follows his, it's an expose of a year of his life in an Amsterdam care home and the various highs and lows and adventures that he gets up to in this care home. I'm really looking forward to this. I really like stories about old people or elderly. I find them really inspiring, and I find that, like, I don't know, I like elderly people in general. Like when I talk to them, I find they have the best stories. So I'm actually really looking forward to reading that one. Hopefully it'll be good. And the last book on my TBR, so basically I have a small bookshelf in my bedroom of books that I need to read that I've owned for ages that I want to get rid of. So I put them all in a jar and I've been picking them out each month and reading one each month. So I had to pick one this month, and it was a Kindle book and it's called Lost Boys, I think. I'll put a picture up here. I'm not sure who the author is and I don't really know anything about what it's about. I think it's loosely based around Peter Pan or something like that. But yeah, that's also on my TBR this month. And that's not the last one, I forgot. I also want to read, I don't know how well this is going to go down. One of the booktubers I watch called Natasha, her channel is My Reading is Odd, and she's doing a buddy-a-thon in March. She's doing 2, but I only want to follow one of them. So one of the ones that she's doing is The Stand by Stephen King. And I'm really out of breath. I owned this book for ages and I got rid of it. I read Hearts in Atlantis, but I've not really delved into Stephen King. And someone recommended to me that if I wanted to read one Stephen King book, or if somebody wanted to like convert me to a Stephen King fan, The Stand was the book that I should read. So I had it for ages and never read it because it's really fucking long. And now I've gotten rid of it. But I've never done a buddy-a-thon and I really want to do one. I think it'd be really good to read it alongside other people so that we can have like updates of how everyone's enjoying it. But it depends on whether I can get hold of a copy, because I'm cheap, I'm a tight ass, I don't have the book anymore and I don't want to buy it full price. So it's whether in the next 3 days, because there's only 3 days left of February, whether I can find it. And if I can, I'll be trying to do the buddy-a-thon. I travel 3 hours to get to my university and I travel 3 hours to get home, and some of that is on train. So I'm figuring I can like plough through parts of that on the train. I don't really want a Kindle version because I want to like see my progress physically and I want to mark it down. So hopefully I can find it in a charity shop or like a thrift store. Like they tend to have a lot of Stephen King books. So fingers crossed I can get hold of it, and then that will also be on my TBR. So yeah, that's it guys. That's all the books on my TBR for March. Definitely not going to read all of them. Any ones that I don't read are just going to go into my April TBR, so look out for my wrap up at the end of the month to find out which ones I did manage to get through. I might be doing vlogs this month as well. I'm thinking of doing like a mid-month vlog so you guys can see how I'm progressing, like how many books I've read so far, like in the second week of March. I don't know whether I will or not, we'll see, it depends how busy I am. So either look out for that or I'll see you in my March wrap up. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, I'll catch you later.